Hello, and welcome to Roz's Happy Hour. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's Wednesday, and I'm your girl, Roz, coming to you from T-Ray Entertainment. Let me say that again, T-Ray Entertainment. What's up, everybody? Where y'all at? Let me first apologize for the echoing last week with After 7. We'll bring them back. We'll bring them back. We always strive to have the best in arts and entertainment. So we're all adjusting to this new technology. So I ask for your continued support and patience because you guys was off the hook in the comments. Anyway, hey, have you early voted? Let's get it in. Crazy lines. Voter suppression is real. Please stay in line and vote. I saw online a young Black school teacher post, why should anybody vote when the system is racist against them? Wow. I mean, I started to respond, but it was so much there. So please, please vote. Our lives depend on it. Racist or not, vote to at least try to have a voice. No vote, no voice, no matter what. Hey, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers. They got it done for Kobe. Right on. Would you guys please do me a favor and share the link? Thank you. I really appreciate it. So today we have a special guest. Let's give him a warm welcome. Show him some love with some hearts. You know how we heart them up on Roz's Happy Hour, the way we do it. If you would, please welcome violin extraordinaire, T-Ray. Hey.
How's it going? Good evening. Good afternoon. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Welcome to Roz's Happy Hour. What you drinking? You know this happy hour.
Some gentleman's jack. So, you know.
Oh, nice.
Keeping it classy.
As well as with my boo. I love my boo.
All right.
That sounds like New Orleans. Boo. But
yeah,
boo's a good drink. So cheers and welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me this evening. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad to have you on here. So you are from New Orleans.
I'm actually from Baton Rouge originally, but I usually say I'm from New Orleans by way of Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is my hometown, so I always represent.
Oh, well, let me start right there. My family's from Ponchatoula.
Okay.
You know?
Not too far down the road, yeah.
Yeah, T-Ray. That's where that comes from.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys just had another wave of hurricane. You and your family, are you guys doing okay with pandemic? And then you had to worry about a hurricane.
Right. Yeah, everything was fine here in New Orleans. I was telling a couple of people that this past storm, Hurricane Delta, was probably the strongest wind gust that we had. We didn't have too much rain here in New Orleans, but my family in Baton Rouge, they got a little bit more impact. I was just in Baton Rouge yesterday helping my dad chop up a tree that has been growing since before I was born. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so the wind took that down and that just goes to show you the impact of the storm. And it wasn't rotting anything. So, but all in all, everyone is safe. We haven't had any major effects from the pandemic either. Thank God for that. So everything's cool. Hopefully, the rest of the season will be relaxed and chill.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
let me just say this: we're back up to 90 and 100 degrees. This is our fire season. We had it earlier, so
Mhm.
everyone they're threatening to cut our power out. So if we lose power, y'all know what's happening. It's beyond our control, but we're not because I have faith
Yeah,
in what we're doing here. So.
definitely.
Well, you are known to have a lot of style, class, and confidence as a violinist artist. How did you pick up playing the violin?
Yeah, so originally I picked up the violin in elementary school. We had what was called the pull-out program. So it was an arts enrichment program where a teacher would come to our school. I think it was 3 times a week, and they would literally pull us out of class. We would go in the auditorium, and we would be with them for 30 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, and we would actually learn the violin. So it was originally a way for me to get out of class, to be honest. To be completely honest, it was a it was a it was a what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say a medium for me to get out of class and be in a different environment, because we didn't really vibe with our teacher. And we all have had that one teacher that
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't really like to be in that class, and we had that one teacher we loved to be in that class. So that was originally how it started, and I started to develop a strong interest in it, even though it had its challenges and difficulties. Not only just from the instrumental standpoint, but also from a peer standpoint. A lot of students, at that age, you're heavily influenced by your peers. So
Hmm.
once I guess you could say the cool kids decided that they wanted to be a part of the class, everybody kind of followed. And then once they decided that they didn't really want to be a part of the class, because, as time progresses, it gets more difficult, especially at that age. If it's something, excuse me, if it's something new territory, you tend to run away from it. So once that happened, a lot of the students and kids, my peers in that class, decided they weren't going to play violin. So then that's when the ridicule and the teasing and, I guess you could say, bullying phase started to kick in, because we went from, I would say, 30 students to about 12 or 15, between 10 and 15, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. So I stuck with it, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, and transitioned into middle school. In sixth grade, I had a different teacher, and she just didn't know how to connect with us on a human to human level,
Hmm.
and also be able to, uh, I guess, communicate the material that we were learning. If we messed something up, she would get mad at us. I dodged a couple batons, from the conductor stand. So it really just drove me away from wanting to play the violin and just being involved in music in general. And that's when I transitioned to my interest in sports. But when I got to high school, that's when I picked it up again in my sophomore year. My freshman year, shout out to my good friend and brother Sean Ward, who was also a violinist. We're still good friends to this day, but we met in freshman year of high school, and his dad, Michael Ward, is a well-known contemporary
Oh, yeah,
violinist.
he's really good.
Yeah, yeah. So he had, Mr. Ward had just released his latest album called Continuum.
Mhm.
And I remember Sean bringing the CD to school, because back then CDs was still like a thing.
Mhm.
He brought the CD to school, and I remember taking it home, listening to it, and I was like, all right, I'll bring it back to you next week. And I must have kept that CD for a couple months. And every day he asked me for it. He's like, I need that CD back. I need the CD back. But I was just so so intrigued by what I was hearing because it was contemporary music that I guess you could say I grew up listening to. You know, your Anita Bakers, your Luther Vandrosses, you know, people of that era. So that really sparked and motivated my interest to get back into playing, and then not only take on classical music, but to concentrate my attention and my interest towards contemporary violin playing and improvising as opposed to just playing classical music. So that's really what sparked it all for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have the violin by you? Can we see it? Let me see. I want to see this violin. Oh, you have a sponsor for that violin?
I do not. I
Oh,
paid for that out of pocket.
yeah. You got a sponsor. You got to write T-Ray
Yeah.
engraved on the violin. Is
Yeah,
that
definitely.
violin as well?
Yeah, it's an acoustic electric. Shout out to the violin shop in Durham, North Carolina. This is the second violin that I've purchased from them. This is I don't know if y'all can see it. This is a Zeta. Yeah, so this is a prototype of, it's based on the acoustic electric violin that John Lupani played back in the fusion days in the 70s. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's deep. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted something that I could play, you know, acoustically without amplification if I was in a recording situation and they just wanted, you know, acoustic violin. And then also it doesn't take away from the tone quality of it being amplified either. So, yeah.
Got it. So what instrument is the violin similar to?
A lot of people, what's the instrument? I believe the ukulele.
Oh,
Ukulele.
not like a guitar.
No, I mean it's similar to the guitar too. You know, there's some similarities in the string layout as far as what the root note of each string is, but then the difference is you're dealing with a fretless instrument. When guitar, they make fretless guitars as we know, but the violin is based more off of feel and just honestly feel, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're a product of the 90s hip hop and the R&B era. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
So I and when
Oh,
I no, no, no. I mean, I grew up. I was not exposed to jazz, classical music. You know, very early on. That was something I was exposed to in high school, and later on, really grew an appreciation for classical music when I was on my way out the door in college. But I mean, I grew up, you know, Common, Nas, Jay-Z, you know, Mary J. Blige, SWV. You just played that in the intro. So those were my first, I guess you could say, musical influences and exposure. So that's why I say, you know, I was a product of that era.
okay. Um, you ended up with a full scholarship in jazz and you studied at UNO, University of New Orleans. Wow, that was a great accomplishment. You had to be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, full ride. You had to be good.
Yeah. It was a blessing in disguise because I went to NOCA, New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, and my junior year and then my senior year. But the fall semester of my senior year, that's when Katrina hit. So I was only doing weekend classes because I lived in Baton Rouge. So I would drive, my parents, and another good friend of mine, shout out to Shay Stevens. We would carpool every other weekend, driving to New Orleans and spend the day there studying. But I say all that to say, you know, the summer of 2006, I still wasn't clear on where I was going to go to college. I knew that I wanted to study music. I wanted to go to Berkeley, but Berkeley did not offer a scholarship. And then, you know, it's also a private institution. So the tuition is really high. And I got an email, I would say maybe 3 or 4 weeks before the fall semester was set to start, saying that I had been accepted and that I was going to be awarded a full scholarship. So, yeah.
And then you transitioned from, you ended up teaching music. Was it jazz music?
Yeah, so I spent the first 2 years at UNO as a jazz studies major, and the summer after my sophomore year, I had a really heart-to-heart conversation with my mentor, who was also my high school orchestra director, Mr. Christopher Frazier. Shout out to Mr. Frazier,
Mhm.
about what path I wanted to take, and he was really telling me. Somebody said also, yes, Noel Pointer as well. Shout out to Mr. Noel Pointer.
Oh, okay.
Um, but we had a really heart to heart conversation. He said, he was like, you don't have to go to school to play jazz. And I was like, yes, you do. Like you do have to study it.
Mhm.
And, he was trying to get, because he studied jazz at Southern University under
Mhm.
the late great Alvin Baptiste. And what he was trying to get me to see is that if I go the education route, that will give me a foundation to not only study jazz and be a performer, but also the stability of having a quote unquote daytime job, um, a daytime job, so that I could, eventually make that transition. So at first, I wasn't really understanding what he was meaning by that, because I just really wanted to play jazz. I wanted to just saturate myself in the art form. But after some consideration, I decided to transition to music education, and I'm glad I did, because that allowed me to get the teaching experience. Working in programs in the community, and then also in the school system as well.
Wow. So, but then you stepped out on faith.
Yeah.
You gave all that up to have a career, a music career. Wow, how was that? I mean, you traveled the world at that point.
Yeah, it was a transitional period. I went through about 4 to 5 months of just contemplating if that was what I really wanted to do, because when I graduated from UNO in 2012, in May of 2012, I went essentially the rest of the year without a full-time job. So I worked with Make Music NOLA, which I'm still affiliated with, on a part-time basis. But it wasn't a situation where it was something that I could sustain a, let's just say, full-time living off of.
Mhm.
So I drafted proposals for stream programs to different charter schools here in New Orleans, because honestly, there may be, aside from Make Music NOLA, like in school programs at the time, there may have been three or four. And brass instruments and marching band is the powerhouse here in New Orleans. So trying to get schools to buy into having a strings program was a really far-fetched dream, and a lot of people couldn't really fathom how that was going to work.
Mhm.
But coming from a background of uh, being in the orchestra, but then also being someone who was working to make the violin um, a forefront instrument, as opposed to just a background instrument or a part of a bigger production. That was something. Those were some of the trial and error, trials and tribulations, I should say, that I was going through with that.
Mhm.
But I say that to say, during that span of time after I graduated, I was doing open mic nights. I was, doing weddings. I was doing birthday parties. I was doing private events. So the brand of, it wasn't even really T-Ray the Violinist at the time. It was more like Trenton the hip hop violinist, because people like to label me
Wow.
as a hip hop violinist because they might see one song and think that that's all that I do. Um,
Yeah.
so as I was still trying to find a job, I was building this brand as a contemporary multi-genre violinist.
Mhm.
And by the time I got the job, it was a full time. It was like trying to juggle teaching and then also performing, after hours and then on the weekends. So I started to think, I'm like, okay, is this the direction that I should be going? because I taught in the public school system for a year and a half, and was also working with Make Music NOLA after school as well, and the Ellis Marcellus Center on Saturdays. So it was a lot of teaching, and then also a lot of trying to find balance between the education side of things and then also being a performing artist. And that was how I made the decision. You know, I say I'll take the leap of faith. You know, I'm a plotting plan to make sure I don't end up on the street if things, you know, fall flat on their face. And, you know, thank God, you know, everything has worked out thus far. So,
yeah. So that's a perfect spot right now to move into, so we can check you out, see how you, others that are new to T-Ray can see him perform live. We got it right here on Roz's Happy Hour. Hold on, stay tuned. Let's see. Well, just a little bit. Hope that they were able to get a flavor of as they do. I didn't want to keep it going too long, but anyway, you want to holler at some people out here. You got our friend is on here.
What's going on, Skip? Brother Skip. Shout out to Skip because he is the reason that we are having this conversation here today.
Right now. Hello, Skip. Thank you for the connection. And there's Charlene. Hey, Wild, thanks for the tag. Okay. Hey, family.
All right.
Hi. Okay. Well, wait a minute. They have nail conversation. But I did want to say we holler. Hey, Deborah. Great. Okay. All right. I wonder why that he says very versatile.
Appreciate it, Deborah.
Yes, he is. A Skip again. You guys rock. All right, where my girl? Oh, here's Roy. We already asked him that. Thank you, Miss Blake. Sister Blake led the conversation.
Appreciate it, Miss Blake.
All right, well, we'll just keep it going. Then, so again, you did a Europe tour. You went to Europe playing.
I'm sorry, say it again. The computer went to slow motion.
That's okay. You went to Europe and played?
Yeah, so I went to the UK in the spring of 2015 with my good friend and brother DJ Rockaway. Shout out to DJ Rockaway. We decided to, you know, at the time we had a group called Progressive Existence, and that came off the cusp of us being a part of a stage play called Hip Hop is Alive. He was the resident DJ for that tour, and then I was the special guest artist performer. So, you know, through different conversations we had, we was like, man, we should we should form a group because we went to UNO together. That's how we originally met. So we started out like literally from the bottom doing open mic nights, in the dorms, and we've went our own ways and done things together as well. But the name of the group was Progressive Existence, and it was based upon the premise of, we're two artists that come from two different backgrounds. Our instrument is compiled of two different, art forms. So mine is live instrumentation, his is DJing. So we decided we would merge those two things together and form an eclectic mix and performance for people, not just your standard or your cliche DJ playing backing tracks while the violinist freestyles over it. It was more of a curated set of music that we really enjoyed, and we're able to bring that to the stage and perform. So we decided to kind of, I guess you could say, spread our wings, and we started to GoFundMe. It was called the Fish and Chips Tour. So if you know anything about Europe and the UK, fish and chips is like a staple meal over there. So we spent about a week and a half over there. We did 5 shows, and it went really well. It went really, really well. We came back and we did some more things, and time just kind of took its course, and we started to kind of do our own thing. We're still really good friends to this day. We talk pretty much every week about music and politics and all kind of things. So so that was a really cool experience. That was my first time actually leaving the country, and that opened my eyes not only to what's out there in the world, but the appreciation for music coming from the States that people in Europe have. Because I'm sure you can attest to this. There are so many artists that we see go to Europe, and they either tour over there or they spend years over there.
Yes.
And they build this big following and this big fan base, and it's just a love and appreciation that they have for the music over there. So it was a really cool experience.
So make no mistake, T-Ray's a bad dude. I mean, you've played some of the biggest festivals in New Orleans. You've done the Jazz and Heritage, the Essence, Voodoo. I actually booked the Zulu Ball one year, and did the stage, the Essence stage for a year. But you've also played Myrtle Beach Jazz Festival. Those are some big festivals. I mean, how is that? So is it a full band, or are you doing acoustic, or?
Yeah, so for Jazz Fest, French Quarter Fest, those two were a full band situation. Shout out to my former band, Dreams to Reality. That was during the time 2015 to 2017 is when I had the full band, and that was when we were really building the brand of T-Ray the Violinist and Dreams to Reality. And Dreams to Reality was a phrase that I kind of coined during my time as a teacher. It was having those conversations with myself in the classroom in between time. It's like, man, I have to do this. Once I made that decision to leave my job, it was like, man, I have to do this. I have to make my dreams a reality, because that is the only way that this is going to happen. So those were full band situations. Essence Fest was a solo situation with backing tracks, and Myrtle Beach as well, because those happened after the band kind of dismantled and everyone went their own way. So
yeah, but you still played. So Shalene says her daughter plays violin.
Violin and cello. Oh, she plays cello. Nice.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Tell us about this. Skip says you played with Confunction in Atlanta. That's my neighbor. My neighbor is my neighbor. They're out here in Vallejo.
Oh, really? Oh.
Confunction, started here in Vallejo. So
yeah, that was a really cool experience. And that was, shout out to Skip once again. He made that happen. Yeah, they did it was Labor Day weekend 2015, I believe. Was it 2015? 2015 or 2016. It was Confunction, Zap. Who else was on the lineup? God.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah, my boy's on there.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it was a funkin' good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
That was a real 90s, 80s show going on.
yeah. So learning the parts to, Love's Train and, all the other hits, like that was I was like, talking to Michael Cooper on the phone, and he sent me the tracks that I was going to be featuring or playing along with them on. And while I was learning the music, it just was like, man, I can't believe I'm about to play with cats I've listened to like growing up, and like cats that my mom and dad grew up on, and
Oh, wait a minute. Your mom and dad grew up on Michael Cooper? Michael's my age.
And I say, I say that all in good fun, but but just as a, just being a young musician, like much. See, you putting me in the corner
No,
now.
no, no. It's all right. It's all right. I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But it just was it was a great experience, and just to really be a part of a show that they're like they have carved their place in history and in time. Just like Maze and Nita Baker, Sade, all these other
Yeah.
artists that we're still listening to. That is that timeless music is the
Mhm,
term I'm looking for.
mhm,
That was a really cool experience.
mhm. So, but you also did some gigs with the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, and the Pelicans.
Yeah, yeah. So I've worked with the Pelicans in a couple of different capacities. They did they have a lounge like for their I
Ah,
guess premium ticket buyers,
yeah.
and then for the open practices, just like a lot of the NBA teams do, I played for that. And then I got a call for Drew Brees' birthday party. Uh, I want to say maybe a week before the party, because it was like a last minute kind of
Yeah,
deal. So
yeah, that's how they roll. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was cool. It was cool though, and after, just a segue from that, after that situation happened for his birthday party, like, so many people reach out to me and show so much support and love.
Yeah.
And, I made it known that, like this is one, mark on the journey itself. This is not the end all be all. This doesn't mean I made it or anything like that. This is just a testament to the work and the grind, that got me to this point. And it's like, okay, I've gotten to this point. I have to double down on that work and grind to continue moving forward. So
Yeah, that's good. Stay humble. I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
know. But I think this is a good point to switch gears and go a little deeper.
Okay.
Yeah, you as a black man has some deep feelings about George Floyd. In fact, while I queue up what you did, and hopefully it'll sound great, can
Mm.
you tell them where this project came from?
Yeah, so this next video and song that Rosalind is about to play is an original composition of mine entitled "We Just Want to Be Free." And 2020 has been a crazy year, as we all know, with the pandemic and just uh, you know the the amount of injustice that has been happening in our community of people of color, black men and black women in particular. It's a raw emotion. I just remember, days after news broke about, George Floyd's murder, in that video and just feeling, a very small percentage of what he felt, just as a black man. Um, this song was born out of that, and it's the name "We Just Want to Be Free." Um, we want to be free. We want to be free just like everyone else in this country. And yes, we may be technically, not enslaved anymore, but I shouldn't feel like I can't, if I live in a predominantly white neighborhood, or I feel as if I'm a minority in the neighborhood, I shouldn't feel like I can't go running down the street. I can't go exercise. I shouldn't feel threatened because there's a cop, behind me, driving behind me, and have to think, oh, is he running my plate? Even though I have a clean record, I could be the next person to make the news. And that's just the day and time that we're in. And I hope that people truly understand, people that, white people, people who are not considered the minority, because I don't want to just say white people, but people who have not had to deal with the stress and anxiety that comes along with being Black and having to operate different in corporate America, having to operate different just on a daily basis, because there's a lot that comes with that. And, we just want to be free. I want to be able to walk down the street and not have to worry about somebody calling the cops on me because I'm a Black man in a white neighborhood, or, I'm a Black man walking down Rodeo Drive. Like those are the things that we're dealing with as a society and as a community, as a culture. And, these are not new issues. These are just issues that as a society, we're now not turning a blind eye to, because this has been going on. Mm-hmm. The generations and generations have dealt with this. So we just want to be free.
Here we go. We just want to be free.
I come here today to talk about how I feel, and I feel like that we are treated differently than other people. I don't like how we're treated, and just because of our color doesn't mean anything to me. I believe that
you're doing great. You're doing a great job.
Don't stop the clock. Do not stop.
We are Black people, and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We do this because we need to and have rights.
Go ahead. Let her talk. Go ahead.
I've been born and raised in Charlotte, and I never felt this way till now. And I can't stand how we're treated. It's a shame that our fathers and mothers are killed, and we can't even see them anymore. It's a shame that we have to go to that graveyard and bury them. And we have tears, and we shouldn't have tears. We need our fathers and mothers to be by our side.
We just want to be free. 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 We just want to be free.
so much going on. When you started with the children, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's
Yeah, yeah. You took me back to that time when I was working on that. It was, I mean, I must have stayed inside for like 4 or 5 days just trying to get it out, and I mixed, I recorded that, I mixed it at my house, and just every time the little girl's name that I was speaking was her name is Ziana. And every time I would hear her, say what she was saying, it just broke me down, that this little girl, she has not even experienced the world at large, and for her to be able to see that, see what's going on,
wow.
it just speaks to where we are as a society and as a country more so, and I just really, it was a really raw piece. That's I can honestly say of everything that I have done as far as original works, that's the most honest, most vulnerable piece. And I think that, it speaks to where we are and where we have been for a very long time. So,
Just
yeah,
want to be free.
yeah,
Like, who knew in 2020 we would be asking to just be free?
right.
You
And
know,
and we can move on. But I was going to say, just so people know, the reason why I did the two comparisons, me with the hoodie on, with my dreads down, and then me with a suit on with my hair up, is just a comparison of how I can look two different ways, but I'm the same person. At the end of the day, I'm the same person. I'm still a human. I'm still a black man, but I should be treated the same, no matter, what my appearance is. Now, if I come into your establishment or I'm just acting crazy, that's a different story. But I shouldn't be judged, or we shouldn't be judged just off of me wearing a t-shirt or a hoodie, or if I have a suit and tie on,
exactly.
Just like Martin Luther King says, it sounds like a broken record, but judge me the content of my character, not the color of my skin, but the content of my character. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, awesome. Loved it. Thank you. And Alec, what's happening? Sounds good. He's
thank you.
followed the Temptations a lot. So
Okay.
to have him on here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just I mean, again, that was a really nice piece. So you guys, let's give us some hearts, and please follow T-Ray on Instagram right there, T_Ray the Violinist, and support him, download his music. He has so much going on. We can't play everything for you, but I did want to give you just a flavor of what's happening with him. What's next for T-Ray? I mean, during this pandemic, I know
Right.
Skip said book him, Skip. We're the booking game is a little bit tough right now,
Yeah.
a liability also.
Right. It is. Yeah. So I was originally, before the pandemic happened, I was supposed to be doing the Unexpected Sounds tour for my latest project. My last mixtape is capstone project of the Unexpected Sound series, and you can stream that on Spotify. It's also available for purchase on my website as well, TRayTheViolinist.com. But I was going to say, right now, just trying to get as much original music recorded, delving deeper into production, and just, making sure the recording is sounding the way it should, because as a violinist, doing majority of the recording myself, it's been a lot of trial and error, troubleshooting. The violin is a very temperamental instrument, by itself, and then also being amplified. And then once you run it through an interface and, all these different things, it can get tricky. So just, all in all, honing my craft a lot more. Just making sure that when we come out on the other side of this thing, that I'm well equipped and well prepared and can hit the road with the Unexpected Sounds tour. So, yeah.
Yeah, and working on your home studio. Are you building a home studio or just enhancing?
Enhancing what I have. Yeah. Yeah.
Enhancing. Oh, right on. So yeah, I mean, we definitely. Somebody said, vote. Yeah, we
Yes.
definitely.
Please get out and vote. Please.
McCoy. Yeah, like I said earlier, I saw a young teacher post about why should we vote when there's so much racism.
Mhm.
Anyway, the system doesn't care about us. I mean, yeah, but to not vote, you at least we can try to hopefully, fix things, but to not vote, we have no fixing.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that mentality is what has stifled and delayed a lot of equality and equity in our country. I don't even want to just say our culture. Our country as a whole. That's what has held us back. So
Yes, you gotta stay out there.
yeah,
You really stay out there. So, yeah, we got to get you sponsorship on that violin.
yeah,
On it, we're gonna be working on that.
right.
Because even what do you call that you use to play?
Oh, the bow? No, I have not.
Oh,
I
oh,
have not had anybody reach out to me about bow endorsements. So
yeah,
it will be great.
yeah. Because that bow, it doesn't come with the violin, right? That's a separate.
No, this was a separate buy. I got both of them from the same company, but it was at two different times. And as we know, quality equipment does not come cheap.
Yeah, but I
So
mean, so you could have different. So there's a quality in the bow as well. I know the
yeah,
violin is quality, but the bow must be of a certain quality as well.
yeah, you have wooden bows, you have fiberglass bows, carbon fiber. I'm sorry. These are two carbon fiber bows. This is a Coda, and then this is a Presto. This is one of my older bows. This one right here. But yeah, I mean they come in different. There's so many different brands out there. Just like there's different shoes and
Mhm.
designer brands. And they all respond differently to different strings. So it's really a science behind it, just like everything else we have in this world. So
So can you break string on the violin like guitars? Do you have to keep string?
mhm.
And do you have to string it yourself?
Yeah, so I usually restring them every.
Turn it around. Let me see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually restring them every 6 months or so. That's usually the lifetime of them, depending on how much you play as well. Because sometimes I've been in the middle of performance and the string pops, and I
Oh.
I take another one out, put it on right quick, tune it, and keep it moving.
So it's 4 strings, 3 strings? How many
Yeah,
strings?
so this one is turn away from this is a 4 string violin. So this is the standard 4 string violin. I do have a 5 string, which is in the case. It has a low C string, so it goes into the viola range as well. So yeah. And you have strings that come in just once again, different price ranges, and they're made of different materials. So it's all about what your sound is and just really finding what works for you. That's what I found. So
So you gotta have an ear. You have an ear. Oh, what?
I hit the stand with it.
All right. So you have to have a special ear for the violin. Is it different from a vocal ear? I don't know.
I would say, as far as finding your taste, as far as what type of strings you want to have, for what I found personally, it's a maturation phase of your ear,
Mhm.
and with wood, excuse me, with wood violins, they age over time. So the longer you play on them, the longer they're active. The wood, kind of how do I
Oh,
want to say it matures, and it just the sound develops the longer you play on it. So this violin sounds nothing like it did when I first got it.
Oh,
You can tell the difference when you first get a violin as opposed to, let's just say, 6 months down the line. You can tell if you have brand new strings on, the strings are broken in. They can have a warmer sound to them. And that's the other thing. You find your tone. Do you like a warm tone? Do you like a dark tone? Do you like a bright tone? So it's all about trial and error. And unfortunately, unless you have a sponsor, for strings,
yeah, you got to make it
you
last.
you gotta make it last, and you have to you got to spend money, finding what works for you. So yeah.
Right. And it sounds like you go into a new show, like a lot of artists that I book. I'm doing their riders and their backline, but you must travel with your own violin. We can't just have a violin there for you when you get to the gig.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same as we go back to Confunction, Michael Cooper. I'm sure, he has his standard, rig of effects. I'll see if I can bring it up right quick. But yeah, I mean, as far as your actual instrument and then your pedals or your rig, you have to, that's kind of all on you. So see if I can. So this is a picture of my rig. So it's my wireless 5-band EQ preamp, chromatic tuner on that side, and of course, and delay pedal. And I also have, excuse me, I also have a crying wah pedal, which a lot of guitar players have, standing in their rigs. So,
wow.
So yeah, and that's been a trial and error thing too. It's like, some effects don't sound good, or you have to just kind of play around with it to get it how you want it to be. So
yeah. So I think the moral of this story is work. It's work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
I think somebody asked earlier, how often do you have to rehearse?
Oh man, it kind of, to me, it depends on the situation. If I'm playing with a group of people, or if I'm playing with a band, that takes a lot more time. Or if somebody calls me with, particular requests and it's within my capacity to do it, then I kind of plot and plan, as far as my schedule, when I'm going to dedicate time to that. So, but I mean, I pretty much touch my violin every day, whether I have a performance or not. So, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of,
nobody becomes great without practice.
Right.
In anything that they do. I mean, practice.
Yeah.
Somebody asked how expensive price range. Laura asked, what price range would you spend on a youth starting the violin? Good question. Glad you asked.
Okay. Are we talking about just an interest they may pass, or are we talking about some child that may be dedicated? I mean, I would say a quality beginner violin is going to, be in a range from a couple $100s on up to, a few $100s. I would say when, excuse me, I would say when a child is first starting out, find something that is of quality, but, don't break the bank at the same time, because, you don't want it to end up collecting dust like my first violin did for 2 years, so, or really 3 years. So, yeah, it really depends. It really depends on what you are looking to spend. And then also, I would advise getting the teacher's recommendation. I'm sure they have some standard recommendations as far as beginner students, because you have beginner, intermediate, and then, advanced, and it just goes up from there. So.
Yeah, I mean, as any child, you don't know what they're going to hone their craft in. It may end up being singing, or maybe a piano, maybe a violin. Let me ask you this. Is there a group of Black violinists? Do you all have a club?
So I'm not aware of a club. If there is a club, I must not be a member. Yeah, but I will say, to that note, there is a culture of, Black violinists, or I would much rather say contemporary violinists, that are, because when I was first starting out, it was a foreign thing. It wasn't cool. It wasn't something that you associate with the male, with the black male. It was something that was seen as feminine, because I was teasing like, oh, you playing a girly instrument or whatever. But there is a culture of contemporary violinists out there. Somebody remind me who mentioned Noel Pointer earlier, but it's not something that's new. It's just something that has finally, I guess you could say, starting to find its place in history.
Yeah.
As far as popular mainstream music and not just classical or straight ahead jazz or smooth jazz. So yeah, it's a lot more widely accepted now.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost at our close, but who would you like to perform with? Who would be a dream gig? 'Cause we can make it happen. Let me see.
I would say Sade. I have a crush on Sade.
Oh, that's yes.
That's my Sade, Jill Scott, Robert Glasper, definitely.
Oh.
Who else? Who's someone else of this day and age? Her, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was my neighbor. I booked her when she was 11 years old.
Oh wow.
Proud of her. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gabby Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she has, she has such a unique style, and I think that even though she's a vocalist, like she's a guitar player, like
yeah.
And let's not let that fall into the background.
Right.
She's not somebody just strumming a couple chords. Like she can play.
She can play.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, Gabby paid her dividends. She worked hard.
Yeah.
She homeschooled, played, traveled, and cards lined up for her. She had Nick Cannon in her corner, so that really helped catapult her to the success that she is now. So, that's great. We got to get you to open up for her.
Yeah.
She opened up for Chris Brown, and it was a whole different Gabby. That was like her first, world tour.
Mm-hmm.
Then she went to being, the top. So, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, T-Ray, I really enjoyed you. Thank you so much. It was an honor to meet you, to bring you on and talk. And again, thank you, Skip, for reminding me about T-Ray. I was looking forward to booking you before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I'm honored to connect with you. Everybody, wasn't he the coolest violin? Give him some hearts. Support the music. Again, download his music. Follow him on Instagram. Do you have any last encouraging words you want to leave the folks with today?
Yeah. First off, I would love to say thank you for having me on today. It was a pleasure and a privilege. Anybody out there, everybody, whether you found your purpose in life or not, please continue striving to be excellent. Motivate those around you. Your actions are going to speak louder than your words, and continue to just keep going forward, because when you stop, that's it. So I just encourage you to keep going. Know that your journey is not done. I'm still on my journey. I'm 6 years full time. Anybody out there who is not even in music, if you're in music, great. If you're contemplating getting into music, I give you all of my support. But if you are trying to figure out where you should be in life and what you should be doing, follow your intuition, pray about it, write down your ideas, and make it happen. So
make it happen. Make it happen. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And listen, thank you for rocking with your girl, Roz. This concludes episode number 19. Wow, I never thought I would get this far. Thank you all. And please share I appreciate you. I will be off next week, and we'll be back with jazz pianist Cecil Ramirez. He's amazing, and you don't want to miss that show. Well, we will have this show up on Roz's Happy Hour YouTube channel. So please continue to share this video. Thank you. And God bless you all. Go vote. We'll see you soon. Take care.
To all the ladies in the place with style and grace. To all the ladies in the place with style and grace. To all the ladies in the place with style and grace. To all the ladies in the place with style and grace. Style and grace.